everybody, welcome back to the Bill and Ray Show. I'm out in the torch shop, gonna make another marble. Today's marble is inspired by some work done by Elijah, a local glass blower that was doing a little apprentice work with me back in the day. So let's fire up the torch and see if we can get started on this project. I'm gonna start out with a 16mm clear rod and do a fume piece that's going to be the core of our marble. So I was going through some videos and I saw this one that Elijah put up, and I'm going to do something inspired by that, and I'll put some links below in his the video that I saw and his Instagram. He's a good guy. So this is going to be a base rod, but I'm going to do some fuming, draw some lines on it, twist it up, squish it up, pull it out, squish it up, and then that's going to go into the core of my marble, hopefully. So I need a section warmed up here to accept some fume. Kind of run with this until it starts kind of drooping a little bit. I know it's getting pretty well heated through. And we will start off with some silver fume. And we'll go into it a little bit hot, and we're going to do just one side. Okay, then we're going to rotate 180, and we're going to do some gold fume. And then we'll do a little bit of heating that in. I just brushed off the torch face so it's going to clear off some of the little sparkles that come out of there. Get that pretty hot before we draw our lines on here. I'll use a skinny rod here. I think many times in my other videos I referred to this, I don't know, 3-4 millimeter. I think it's actually closer to 5 millimeter. It seems pretty little to me. So we're going to do these lines spaced just a little bit apart. And we're letting it flow on there fairly thick. And remember to move my left arm to push this glass into position. And then I get down to this end part, and looks like I really just have room for one line in between here. Okay, now we got a base with some fumed lines on here. And melt all this in. So kind of heat up this whole section with the big fire and get it to where it's kind of wibbly wobbly, and then we'll go and put a handle on here. And we'll go through kind of heating this down and burning out the fume in between the lines a little bit at a time. So this marble is going to be maybe kind of simple, maybe not take too long. I'm going to try and do some manipulations here, but I'm not too sure how well it's going to come out. Now what Elijah demonstrated was doing something like this with tubing, with the fume on the inside of the tubing. And this is using solid rod, obviously, with the fume on the outside. So it's kind of a different animal, but I'm trying to get to a similar kind of a look. I'm not really trying to twist this or pull it out in particular, but I'm winding up pulling this somewhat and reducing the diameter. And then there's some twisting going on because I've got two completely different size handles. I could have swapped out this left-hand piece for a handle earlier, but it really doesn't matter a whole lot. I'm going to get this twisted eventually. So we'll get here to the end of the fume, and then we'll cut this off. All right. Now we can come back across this. Got my little connection a little too hot here. I'm going to redo things, melt this in. Okay, now as this heats up, we're going to get this twisting. And drawn out, trying to pull this out a little bit. Kind of went for a change of direction in the twist because the direction it was going was not a familiar direction for turning, so change that up a little. So this whole thing is way more material than I need for my central element. And frankly, these handles are a little too heavy-handed for what I want to do. So I'm going to swap these out for some lighter weight handles. That handle is still not set up. Okay. Straighten up a little bit. Okay, I think I got it under control here. So what I want to do is push this into a series of kind of Maria. Kind of working off that right hand side now, getting the heat kind of pile up. I'm trying to just rotate both handles at the same time. Just kind of a little gentle heat, push, heat, push, heat, push. Okay, sort of focused on the right-hand side. And come over here and try and kind of heal up this left-hand side. Now, one trick I'm trying to do . Get this flame down pretty tight. Just heat right off that end, and I'm going to switch gears and twist that. Okay, and then I want to pile it up. So I tried a couple of different little things there, trying to get a bit of a fold and a little bit of a reversal effect there that may be lost in the fold, but so now in this example, this is going to wind up being basically kind of clear down the core. I was hoping to try and get this to kind of come out thin and fold onto it. So I'm kind of trying this for the first time. So I'm trying to try this again, pull this out. And build up another separate little Maria sort of thing. And this is actually transitioning through a little reversal that I started with here on this end. Okay, now I'm going to see if I can fold that with a soft flame. And try and squish this together without trapping air. So I'm trying to get that kind of a little fold going on with that crease. Like I say, without trapping air. It's hard to know how much I've got really into the interior. I'm not sure if I really accomplished quite what I was hoping for. I'm going to try this one more time on this other side. Give me a little bit better handle on what I'm trying to do. Try and narrow this down to a pretty small section. And then build up another area here. Let this cool off a little. Okay, kind of heal up this corner. Squish those together. Well, this will give a couple little wrinkles in there, hopefully. See how this turns out on the interior. On another try of this, once I learn a little bit more about it, I could try and be more precise about the twists and reversals, but just trying to kind of get a proof of concept with this particular piece. Another way I might be able to do this is stack separate, instead of trying to do this all in one continuous cane, just kind of stack some separate twisted up sections, and where you could kind of plunge one into the next. Might be easier to do if it was a completely separate element. Okay, we're going to cut this off. And we're going to let this just kind of fall back into it. And this will be our front face looking in from this end. Okay. For you that have followed along with some of these, you may be familiar with my little garage. I have a little heated unit over here on the side. I'll throw in a picture of that. It's sold as a little curling iron heater. I haven't tried out that functionality, but it makes a nice little cubby hole. It's pretty small, but it hovers around 900 degrees when it's running, 850. It's good. It's a good garage temperature to hang out. So we'll put our piece in here for a minute or three, while we get our central big fat rod to that we're going to build off of. Get this end ready to receive it. So, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's in a good space. Ready to hang out here for a few minutes and kind of chill. Hard to believe that 2 weeks ago I was having some surgery. I feel great. It's healing up really well. Had my post-op checkup with the doctor yesterday. It's all good. I think he was pretty pleased. I'm certainly pretty pleased with the way it's gone. That said, I still got to take it easy for another month. Which is a little hard, but I just got to be careful not to do anything too crazy. Sitting down making glass is not a problem. Okay, grab a sip of coffee while this is heating up. Got my Vortex marble instruction manual here. I've completed the interior fume effect. Hard to see my little heated pad down here for it to sit down on. Okay, a little ball formed up on the end here. Grab our little centerpiece. Now, most times I do this. The very center part of the fumed piece, it gets dispersed out quite a bit in this process to where it thins out and you can see down through it. Okay, that starts looking like a pretty good combination. We'll go ahead and cut this free. I'm going to try and get this to kind of bunch up here. We're headed for our cone shape. You can see it's kind of doing its own thing. Kind of getting towards that, a bit more of a bullet shape, but it's not far off. So you can do just kind of some gentle work on the marber plate. Once it kind of sets up, you can push a little harder and get the interior move a little. And I'll run over it with the paddle. And flatten that face out. And then at the end, okay, next step is going to start working on the backing. I'm going to start out with some red frit. Try and put that angle of the cone kind of flat to the base of the torch and focus the heat more on the thick side. So grab a little bit of color for the background. This red color I'm gonna find the right button here. Way back in the backfire. Alright, I want to melt this in until it's smooth. Alright, that should be pretty good. So we're going to fill the background with blue. Nice rich blue. So no fuming on this background color. I'm just going to leave all that fume in the core stand on its own. That's what I was saying, this marble in some ways is kind of more simplistic as far as the layers go. So this color is called Blue Spruce. I really like it. It's a really rich color. Some of the blues can get kind of dark and muted or pale. This maintains a real nice lush blue. A little crazy at the very tip. Trying to maintain pressure, pushing into that valley. I had a little hop there when I repositioned my fingers, and okay, looks pretty good. I think this is probably sealed in, but it kind of looks like it stands out. It's getting thin through there. Okay, that's a lovely cone to make up our marble. So now we're going to do some silver on there. Sometimes this will show up in the finished piece, and sometimes it's pretty buried with the outside color, but it doesn't take much to just add that in there just in case. Okay. So using tubing with this kind of a twisted up effect allows you to, especially with the fuming on the inside of the tube, allows you to collapse it down to a point, you know, to all the way to the center. But I kind of like the marble to be able to look down the vortex effect, so I don't really want it constricted all the way in the center, although if it had a layer in there, that would be kind of interesting. And hopefully using both that gold and silver, it'll give some different colors. When I first came out here an hour ago, whatever it was, 23 degrees outside. It's supposed to get down below zero in a couple days. And tomorrow, maybe we get an inch of snow tomorrow. It'd be nice to see a little bit of fresh snow. We've had the same snow on the ground for quite a while. It's amazing how it just hangs out. And the night before last, we had a wayward cow that somehow got into our yard. The dog was not happy with a cow in her yard. I think she wandered back the way she came in, eventually. It's always a little bit of an adventure here. We've had quite a lot of great horned owls right around close, sometimes making quite a lot of noise at night. With the full moon right now, the coyotes have been pretty active, pretty noisy. Reminds me though, before it does snow again, I should do a little cleanup on aisle 2 out there. Clean up our yard before it gets buried for the season. So the dog will probably dig it up and roll around in it. No, she wouldn't do that. Okay. A little bit more here. There we go, melted in. But I must say, it's surprising, even just with the recovery phase that I'm going through, I don't quite have the stamina or strength that I'm accustomed to having. So my arms are actually a little tired. So it'll be a workout just getting this done. Don't often use a marble mold at that stage, but I'll move this along. Alright, for the backing, we have some butterscotch, some deep green, and jet black. I like to start with jet black if we've got it up to go. Start off just covering over that transition area between the color and clear. And make a break to give enough room for 2 more lines of color. When I do this, I don't mind. There's actually a little bit of clear in between the colors. And then we'll do the butterscotch. I've usually been using Silver Strike 5 for this kind of a neutral tan color, but for some reason I've been kind of into this butterscotch. It's very similar, but it will throw a few browns and kind of a little bit darker tones than just the tan from Silver Strike 5. In some instances, it can produce some other purplish colors. And then this green that I've been enamored by these days, I just having fun using a green that's easy to use. So this represents kind of a classic color combination. I use this similar combination on some of my cabinet knobs, one of my early color combinations. Makes a nice rich, kind of more of a guy thing maybe, a color scheme. Okay, make some swirls. think I've done this so many times I know how to set the torch. But at the risk of my inability to not knock on wood right now, I really like the way this torch is running to do this step right now. It's got the right amount. You need some pretty intense heat. It's got to be the right mix. Makes it a lot easier. And it's not always easy for me to grab that torch setting. Plus, a lot of times you set the torch to do one thing, and over the period of a few minutes, you kind of drift a little bit from that setting. But I had that same setting before I started, when I was just smoothing out the color, and I didn't go monkeying with the torch controls, and that kind of helped to keep the same setup, which was nice. It worked really well. But as usual, the first loop tends to be the breakaway. So you come in here and heat it up and try and kind of smush things around just a touch. Close up those gaps. We're getting there. A little bit of an adjustment in the axis. You might notice this clear rod that I'm holding this has been pieced together a couple of times, I think. So where I'm holding onto the back straight section, it goes through a couple wiggles that out at the end the marble's on is not perfectly aligned, but it's pretty close. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now this next phase of condensing the front lens, I'm kind of trying to switch this up and use mostly the Lynx torch for doing this, even though it's a little slower. It has the ability to really do a better job of melting. A little cleaner. Red Max is not a super clean flame. it kind of gives you an idea of that if all you had was a lynx torch, you could still make a 2-inch marble. In certain phases it take longer, but back when all I had was a Nortel miner torch, and I was working making soft glass beads. That's what I started out doing for years and years and years. I could make a 1-inch Boro marble. And for a long time I didn't really think that torch could work Boro at all, but you just gotta crank it up. It seems like it's not quite on axis right. Kind of challenging at this point to have the patience to build up this lens to be as large as the other side, or actually a little larger. Creating a crease there, one side hot, one side not so hot. Pull it just 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch or something, and just pause. Let that thinner section superheat. Just kind of draw a line around the circumference here. Yeah, come around to the beginning, and then we'll try and draw out this edge down to a little point that we can kind of tuck in place. Itches. Okay, let's kind of eyeball for any last places that are glowing, indicating a little contamination or looking like a different color when it heats. We've got all the bits of glass that are a little different. Start melting down this lens. Got a big elongated pill shape you got to get all the way to round. I've seen people describe it, the hardest part of making the marble is getting it round. I tend to think that that's the easiest part. That's just mechanics. All the color and pattern has been accomplished, and this stuff is just could be accomplished completely just with heat, rotation, gravity. It seems kind of counterintuitive, and we're actually allowing it to draw out and letting it fall back in. use the Elm Arbor to kind of set that edge. And at this point, there's sometimes where I feel like, oh, maybe I have a little bit too much clear out on this end. Now's the time to skim off just a little. It looks like it's kind of a bit too much weighted towards the clear lens. Try that. Okay, that's the front lens. I first kind of peek down the core. Well, I think we learned something with this project. I think for trying to match a similar effect to what you could accomplish with tubing, I think I'd need to make 2 or 3 separate little components that had terminations on them and then join those separately together. So you kind of do away with the core clear, but I like the core to be mostly clear so I can see down into it. And it will never get the definition that you would get with the tubing technique. But for someone if you don't have tubing, or like me that you don't use a lot of tubing, that's a whole nother layer of detail that I'll get into one of these days. I'm still pretty new at this stuff. So. Try and stick to my strength here. fast spins here to pull out that circumference. Okay, into the mold. I'm going to go in here pretty hot and level. It's kind of a nice size because it's sitting down inside the mold. Get a lot of shaping done in just that one trip to the mold. This one may be a hair under 2 inches in diameter. I like some of these Vortex marbles. It's kind of mysterious down in the nooks and crannies. Some things are just kind of like, there it is in your face. But I like when they have some literal twists and turns and folds that give you kind of an intriguing, want to explore inside there. Still on that circumference, or a little bit, some divots. Letting this hot glass kind of hang down a little bit and then aim up and let it pull back. It kind of exercises the glass back and forth and makes it a little bit more pliable. Okay, it's getting there. It's getting a little stubborn, but getting down to where we can transfer and finish out that edge on the other side. So we'll go gently into the mold at this point, spin it up a bunch, lose some heat, and lose some of that core temperature. Come back in and flame polish. And rest a minute. Down the rabbit hole for sure. picking up some glints of the silver fume on the blue layer underneath this backing color pattern. I like that open structure on the back side to give you a little glimmer as you move it around, the light moves around. Well, as always, sure appreciate anybody that's been hanging out watching these videos. Getting down to the end of this one. If you have questions or comments, please put them in the description below. The comment section below, I guess you'd say. Like I said, I'll leave some links in here to Elijah's Instagram and the video that kind of inspired this. Oh, bugger. Torch through some shrapnel. It seems like a setback to start poking around at this front lens, but it's alright. It doesn't take much time to get this back smoothed out. Just writing on the rim of this marble mold that's quite a bit smaller than the marble. It gives a lot of control on the surface. At this point, I think the shaping is basically done with. We'll just do some rotations with the heat. Okay, just letting this cool down so we can separate it from the punty. Okay, smooth over that punchy. We're good to go. Hope everybody has a great day today. Sun's out, looking beautiful here. Time to go get some lunch. See what other trouble I can get into today. Into the kiln we go. Boy, I left my little heater on over here. The little kiln, the little garage heater. That's alright, it's cold out here in the shop, so helps warm things up. Anyhow, take care of yourselves, take care of everybody around you. Love you all. Be good. We'll see you next time.